successful. Steady's got G-string flicked off the overpass.
lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Matt Williams got a brilliant start from the third row of the grid.
He's gone, he's hit him, he's straight off at the chase.
And a half-second lead. Oh, with the simmering car in the background.
He has it. Oh, he's round on the last lap.
There's a massive accident.
Next to the inside, what a move, what a move.
Good evening, everybody. Another Wednesday night here in beautiful Melbourne town, and we're here for round 8 of the Automoblista Australia ATCC Championship, coming to you from the top end, Hidden Valley Raceway in sunny Darwin. I'm Chris Riddell, and with me, as he is for every round of this series, my good mate Michael Zalvari. G'day, mate.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 8. We've done 7 of these already, and I'm hoping that round 8 is as good as any of the last 7 because they've been great fun.
Hasn't it? I mean, last round was just great racing out at Lakeside. Hard, clean, mostly fair. At a track mostly fair. At a track we thought there'd be a bit of carnage. But they actually behaved themselves, and it's really led to quite an interesting championship scenario, which I want to get into first, because with 4 rounds to go, or 5 including tonight, it's really an interesting championship scenario with 3 points between the top 2.
Yeah, so at the moment, with Will Devonish's string of good results, he holds the championship lead by 3 points over Brendan Hobson, and then it is 9 points back to Scott Nolan. Now, this is important to note that this is including now the drop round for all of these drivers. So that has been taken into account, and these are the corrected points. So Hobbo with a DNF next to his name actually jumped quite far up the order compared to his contemporaries, but that's the top 3 as it stands currently with 4 rounds remaining. Lion Mitch sits in 4th, the eternal 4th for Lion Mitch. Damien Rasmussen in 5th, and then Hans, Steve Bolger, Wayne Spencer, Ozrob, and Brock Harvey complete your top 10. And it's a really tight little group there for the tail end of the top 10, because just outside that graph, you've also got Cracker and Luke Joyner not too far away as well. So a very little tight battle, but definitely at the front. That's going to be one to watch for the remainder of the season.
Oh, yeah. And Hoppo hasn't got anywhere to move. If he has a bad round, that's going to cost him significantly compared to his opponents up there. And we're at a track where it's easy to have a bad round.
Yeah, absolutely right. That's one of the problems with having a DNF or a really bad round early on, is that you don't really have that in your back pocket like some of your other drivers. And we are at tonight Hidden Valley, one of the best little racetracks around Australia. We say that about a lot of racetracks, but I really truly think that Hidden Valley has a very, very nice flow to it. It's got, of course, that it's typified by that massively long straight, just over a kilometre into turn 1. And then a little switchback through turns 3 and 4 into turn 5, one of the most difficult corners on the track. Then the hairpin at turn 6. And then, as Scafie likes to say, you dance the car back down the hill through that final sector onto the main straight. What's your favourite part of this track?
I love the valley.
The run into the hairpin?
The run to the hairpin, yeah. It's an awkward complex to get right. It's the fans down there are always rabid as well. It's just a lot of fun.
Brilliant. It is, yeah. I quite like the run back down the hill from turn about 9 and 10. Turn 8 all the way down to turn the final corner. I find that it really shows who has the quick feet to get the car positioned correctly down the hill.
Yeah, and turn 1 as well. Getting that right is incredibly difficult, but it's incredibly important to the rest of your lap, because you can lose so much time if you're just a millimetre off the apex. And you will see cars going 4, 5, 6 wide into it.
Absolutely. And considering as well the difficulty that these cars have with braking sometimes, and the length of stint that we're going to have tonight, it's almost guaranteed that someone will be off in the weeds at the end of the main straight.
Oh, no doubt. There'll be someone doing the trying to outbrake 12 cars on the first lap of the race thing.
Oh, undoubtedly. We've already seen a bunch of cars do that in practice. Shout out to Termo for using my BMW's side door as a stopping point. I really appreciated that.
Yes, and thank you to, I think it might have been Termo as well, who decided to out-accelerate me out of the final corner and send me basically over apex doing a front flip.
Yes, we have good fun in the practice service here at the ATCC.
There's a reason we don't broadcast it.
Oh, God, no. Can you imagine? Although we would have caught my fantastic flip at the last corner live had we been broadcasting, because that was quite impressive. It's a shame that we didn't quite catch that.
Now, this is round 8 of a 12-round championship, so getting to the pointy end. And the tracks coming up are some of Australia's best racing venues. We've got Hidden Valley tonight. 2 weeks' time, we're going to Sandown. Then Sydney Motorsport Park, Oran Park, and Mountain Panorama.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, not a bad track amongst them.
Yeah, exactly right. And for me, I'm most excited, most absolutely, to see these cars go around Oran Park again. I 100% missed that circuit and everything it stood for, and I think these cars around that track are going to be an absolute blast.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Well, we're going to have to, because that's over a month away.
It is.
6 weeks. 6 weeks until Oran Park. But
That-
until then...
31st of October, which is my parents' birthday and my brother's birthday and my parents' wedding day.
Aw, cute. Wait, was your brother born at your parents' wedding?
No.
Aw.
But
Well,
my
that's
but my
exciting.
parents completely forgot about his birthday when they were planning the wedding.
Oh, classic.
True story.
Well done, Mr. and Mrs. Kiwi Chris.
Yes, indeed.
Well, senior.
Senior, yes. So, I guess with a few minutes to go, we should talk about what's going on in our lives because... Oh, no, we're about to go to quali. Never mind that.
No one wants to hear about our lives, Chris. What are you talking about?
I was going to talk about Le Mans, but, you know.
Oh, yeah, no, we can talk about that. That's a good point.
Yeah. Because Le Mans coming up. And that,
Yes.
for us, that is a massive, massive deal. Not just because of the fact it's a big race, but on Endurance Chat, we have a lot going on around the time of Le Mans, don't we?
Yeah, well, Le Mans is the whole reason that Endurance Chat exists, to be quite honest. The whole thing started as a way to communicate and track the 2016 was the first year we did Endurance Chat, World Endurance Championship, and evolved from there. So we'll talk a little bit more about that between quali and the race.
We will.
But for now, we are just about to start qualifying. We have everyone making their way to the end of pit lane, which doesn't really have a definite end here, so I'm not sure how that's going to go with regards to speed limits, etc.
It's less mad than last week.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers, arms, legs, toes, and eyes crossed.
And we're on board with Scotty Murrow for the outlap, and you can just see this place. It doesn't look like much on the map, but in person, it's a great little facility. Great to drive.
Yeah.
All the drivers love it.
Yeah, and Morrill has swapped from the Nissan into Big Dog's Commodore as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hence the purple MHRT colours. He's actually a Darwin local as well, so he knows this track very, very well. He was telling us in the practice that before they built the track here in 1998, that this used to be a swamp.
Oh!
So, yeah.
As we
There you
see, coming around the hairpin now with, is that line match ahead of him? Yes, it is.
Yep.
Small teaser.
Already-
His new paint livery for the midget series is amazing.
Yes, we should talk about that as well, because that ties in very nicely to what we'll be talking about in the break. But we'll wait for then, and we'll just right on board with Morrill as he commences his first flying lap. So making sure to use all of the apron on that final corner and heading down this long main straight now, using the slipstream from the skyline in front, across the line, just past the halfway point, and then braking just beyond the 150 board in the Commodore. Almost sends it down the inside of Lime Mitch, but misses the apex there just a little bit, but doubles back quite nicely. Lime Mitch, you can see, gets a very squirrely moment on the power application. And then this is the run into the valley, that short left-right complex, and then a dive into turn 4 here. Turn 5 here, pardon me.
And then
Doesn't use a lot of curb. Oh, he just nicks the end of the curb there, does Morrill.
This has been a very scruffy lap as he comes through the turn 6 hairpin. Very, very tricky to get on the throttle at the right time through turn 6. Short acceleration, full commitment through 7. I love that corner. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and then this is the fun part for me, the dive back down the hill. Float the car up on that right-hand side over the curb, for the left-hander, then down over this curb and then swing it wide so you can get the cut back onto the main straight. You can visually see that Lion Mitch got a much better run through there, so the air gap is exploded in comparison to what it was at the beginning of the last lap. So we'll see these first flying laps come in. Lion Mitch the top with a 106.7, and then Murrow 107.3. The first 2 laps in the session.
Yep, Cam Rutledge about to come across the line. I think he's going to be a bit slow this time. Yep, 109.3, not the greatest lap from Cammy. What am I calling him Cammy for? We've got next across the line will be Rhodey, with a train of cars behind him.
Whereabouts is the Roadster?
He's just on the front straight now. We see the Curry Brunswick machine passing the car behind, who was Damien Rasmussen.
I thought that was Will Devonish.
No, what's Devonish? Sorry, my apologies.
There you go.
So, I'll tell you what, Lion Mitch's time, as we see Luke Rosella jump into second as well, pretty quick straight off the bat.
Yeah, but it's not quite the absolute... Oh, it actually is really, really close to the absolute outright pace that we saw in practice. I'm being a little unkind to Lion Mitch. The fastest lap we saw in practice was a 106.6. So Lion Mitch immediately on the hammer. So very nicely done from him. I'm surprised that we haven't seen a better lap so far from Hans. His first lap, not really all that great. He was one of the faster ones in practice with the Volvo.
And I've got Hobbo coming across the line now, going up into third place, 107.186. Now, he did say last week Hobbo was going to be struggling here. As we see Turma going to fourth, and Wazza go to fourth as well.
So HSVs look to be really, really strong on an all-round single lap pace. So very exciting if you're driving a HSV machine at the moment, which Scott Nolan is, and he jumps up to second. We've got a new provisional pole sitter, and it's Luke Rosella in the Ecurie Brunswick number 55 Volvo that jumps to the top of the timesheets with a 106.65, which is the fastest lap of the night so far.
Lion Mitch is really pushing though in second. He's 6/100ths down, or 8/100ths down, coming through the second sector. He's really ragging this, taking it to the absolute edge of the track, but he's got himself a bit of a tank slapper on. He's actually hit the Armco. No, he has missed the Armco, spun, and hit the inside wall of the pit lane. That's not going to do much of his times.
Not ideal for Lion Mitch there. Got very close to that outside Armco. Just a word of note, if you do hit that outside Armco, it is not kind to your car.
You did it a few times, I know that.
I did. Brendan Hobson jumps up to second place, half a second up on his PB, but 15 thousandths of a second behind Luke Rosella's time in the, I almost said it in the Porsche, in the Volvo. That's embarrassing.
Oof. Oh, it's just the Hobbo have a spin as well coming onto the front straight as Brock Harvey.
That's actually Damien Rasmussen there in the number 221 car, okay. So he was on a quick lap.
Brock Harvey jumped up 10 places to go 12th. Cracker's currently in 11th.
Still 5 minutes left in this session. We've got a yellow flag at the top of the circuit, and it's for Dane Liccardo, who once again finds himself in the wall. Dane was talking some pretty mad stuff early on the week, saying that because he has actually run this track before in real life. So, yeah, unfortunately, it hasn't panned out for him so far tonight. So, come on, Dane, up your game.
Yep, we have Hobbo coming onto the front straight now. I was going to say he's setting green sectors, but he's just got him very sideways and he dives into the pit lane coming to the final corner. So that's unfortunate for Brenton. So with 4 minutes to go, Luke Rosella's still setting the pace. You got anyone else on his fast lap at the moment? Lion Mitch is going around again, as I'm guessing he's starting his hot lap.
I'm going to keep an eye on Scott Nolan as he comes across the line. He slots into 5th. With a 107.1, so not quite the same pace as his teammates. Hans Brunswick has just eclipsed his PB, but stays in. He jumps up to 6th place.
Yep.
So he's looking to gain a bit more on the field.
Will Devonish looks like will be the next across the line on a hot lap. Mind you, he's right behind the Volvo of Adam Kerrison. Might get a bit of a toe off him as he comes across the line. Currently in 14th. You expect him to be a bit higher up than that, and he jumps up to 7th at the end of this lap.
So, yeah, Devonish, he's not I don't think this circuit necessarily suits the Mercedes as much as some of the other circuits we've been to, especially with that very long straight. And he will be suffering if he qualifies down the order tonight because there isn't really an opportunity for that Merc to use its cornering prowess to get past people. A lot of the passing opportunities here are very much straight line centric. So fingers crossed for Will that he gets that BMW, Mercedes further up the order.
Yes, indeed. Now, I'm trying to think if anyone's actually on a hot lap.
I think Brendan Hobson is improving, and he eclipses his PB. No, that can't be right. It says it's eclipsed his PB, but it's still in the same position.
I think that was the start of his hot lap, which he's ruined by going off at turn 1.
Right, wow.
Lime Mitch is stopping. Damien Rasmussen's going to be next across the line, setting a fast time. Currently in 4th place. The 221 machine remains. Nope, he obviously had a track cut there because that lap's starting again. One thing I have noticed, if you take the shortcut that David Reynolds made famous. Was it David Reynolds?
It has been many people over the course of history that has taken the shortcut from turn 5 to turn 7.
The game doesn't black flag you.
No, it's great. I've found that out quite a few times.
Yes. So keep an eye out for that. There might be a, just a couple of guys just outbreak themselves into turn 5. Scotty Nolan's going to be next across the line.
He had a purple first sector this lap. And just behind him is Brock Harvey as well, who's improving on his time. Let's see Scott's time first. And he jumps up to pole.
With 3 1,000ths to spare. Plenty of margin.
Wow.
Great lap from Scotty Nolan.
Yeah, 3 1,000. So that top 4 is within a 10th currently. With, of course, Rosella's 3,000ths behind Scott Nolan. Brendan Hobson just a little further back. He's 18,000th behind Scott Nolan's time. But once again, it is Nolan who has the outright pace in the HSV with a minute left in qualifying.
Yep, as we see Ozrob just go across the line in 12th. Let me see if I can get this camera. Nope, I can't.
And now Damien Rasmussen's jumped up as well. He split Hobson and Lime Mitch perfectly. 400ths both ahead and behind him. So he's now in 4th place.
And he's going around again. Let's see if he can improve on that with 45 seconds to go. Any purple sectors popping up on timing?
Luke Rosella has a purple sector to the first, so I'll jump on board with him and see how he goes. He's just about to come up to the second sector mark, and he's up again.
This is going to be a hot time if he can hold it through the final corner. He's getting very, very loose, hanging way out to the right-hand side of the track. Gets as close to the gambling sponsorship, who I won't mention, on the inside of the track, and away he goes in the front straight. This could be a good time.
This will be very close. He only has to improve by 3,000 as he comes to the line. And
Does
he goes
it?
top. 5/10 the gap now at the front. So still minuscule gaps between the top runners as we are now almost at the end of qualifying.
Scotty Nolan is 200ths down on him on Rosella's time as he's just coming through turn 6 at this point. So keep an eye on him, and then Hobson's behind him a few cars back as well.
Liccardo and Miles have finished their running, as has Rhodey. They cross the line now. Liccardo improves to 20th. Matt Cecil crosses the line. He stays 18th. Rhodey's up to 16th crossing the line. Still waiting on, I think, Steve Bolger to improve on his. No, he's in the pits. A lot of cars in the pits, actually. Wayne Spencer, Termo, and Brock Harvey in the 10 are in the pits.
Scotty Nolan.
Cam Rutledge. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Scotty Nolan's just coming to the pits. He gave that lap away. Hobson's the last one who I think can make a difference to the times. He's going to be very close coming across the line from 3rd place now. Jumps up. No, he doesn't jump up. Still remains 3rd. I think that might be it, apart from maybe Lime Mitch.
We've got Rasmussen and Lime Mitch still on track. They're the last two to come to the line. Here they are now. Lime Mitch across the line. Does he improve?
No, he does not.
And Rasmussen
does. 2nd.
Oh, wow.
he found a way to slide into that gap brilliantly.
It was 26 thousandths of a second. Yet again, he almost exactly split Nolan and Rosella. But for the first time this season, it will be a pole for a Volvo. Luke Rosella in the Ecurie Brunswick number 55 car sits on pole ahead of Damien Rasmussen, Scott Nolan, and Brenton Hobson, the 3 Synergy Sim Racing cars. Lime Mitch is the first of the Nissans. Then it will be Hans Brunswick, Wayne Spencer, Termo, Brock Harvey, and Petter Suraj to complete your top 10.
Peter Siraj, aka Lewis Wedding.
Lewis Wedding.
Yes. Yes. Wow,
You had it.
I was not expecting the Volvos to be that quick here.
Oh, they must have done some level of practice and setup, because they were talking pretty in depth of setup during the practice session. So I think Hans and Rosella are quite a good partnership, and I feel like this track as well might just be bringing out the best that the Volvo can possibly put together.
Yep. And we didn't see a time from Adam Kerrison there. His game crashed, and he unfortunately was unable to make qualifying, but he'll make the race.
And we also had no lap for
Manuel Centino?
Manuel Centino, which I think is which I don't think is an issue we need to talk about, unfortunately for Manuel. And for Luke Joyner, who starts rear of grid after contact between him and Rhodey last round out at Lakeside.
Absolutely. As the cars are just going around during the driver's briefing, little bit of practice. Shall we talk about Le Mans quickly?
Yes, let's talk quickly about Le Mans. So if you are unsure about what Le Mans is, it is, of course, the 24-hour race through the countryside of France, through the town, or around the town of Le Mans. It is this week, not this weekend, next weekend. Track action starts a week from today, and it's been moved to September, of course, because of the coronavirus pandemic and its result and its impact on all of the sports that were happening in Europe. It will be 24 hours starting at 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and then running through to Sunday. And of course, as I made mention, without Le Mans, Endurance Chat wouldn't be a thing. So it's a very, very big event on our calendar. We are in the process of creating podcasts to give people an introduction to the event, as well as an introduction to the 60-car grid, both in prototypes and GT cars. And it's our festival of motorsport for endurance racing. So yeah, quite a lot going on at the moment for us in Endurance Chat.
Indeed. So those podcasts should drop within the next week or so. At least the entry list podcast will.
Yeah, so we should have the Le Mans for Noobs put together hopefully before the weekend or on the weekend, and then the entry list should come up through next week. So if you've never had any idea about what Le Mans is or what it's about, these podcasts that we'll put up both on our Podbean service, and they'll appear up on YouTube as well, will give you a level of introduction. They might not give you the full story, but they'll give you a starting point. As well, you can check out over on reddit.com/r/WEC. I put a massive info post up there, which can serve as a bit of a starting point as well, which I do every year. It's got documentaries, videos, everything that you'd ever need to understand the magic that is the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Yep, it's got a fantastic write-up from Michael about a classic Le Mans finish.
Ah, yes, the 1983 race.
Yes,
that
indeed.
one that I did.
Yes, as well as one less good that I did. But
You're fantastic about the 2010 race.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Le Mans stories as well. Mostly because I think it was the first one I actually watched most of.
Yeah. And it's just a great, and Le Mans means so much to you. I know it means a lot to me as well. And I can't wait for next week. It's going to be fantastic. And if you're new to it, join us. Maybe don't join us in Discord because that might scare you away, but it's going to be a great race.
Yeah,
even without fans, it's going to be a fantastic race, as it always is.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well. It will be running without fans. And so people always ask me when you go about saying that, hey, I sit and watch 24-hour races on the other side of the world, for a laugh. Well, how do you manage that? And honestly, part of the magic of a 24-hour race is that you can go away and come back to it and it still be the same event. It's a bit like test cricket in that you can have it on the background and tune in when you need to. But something that has grown in more recent years is this community that's come around about it, that I am a part of and run over on Reddit. And it gives everyone a very unique perspective on the race. You can come back into it and get caught up immediately from 10, 15, 20 people, or even sometimes 100 people, and they share their experience, what that you missed out on, but you get to kind of see it a little bit through their eyes. It's a very sort of special thing to be a part of a community that's so in depth and willing to share those little stories. And yeah, some of the best moments I can think of while watching racing have been watching Le Mans with a group of people online.
You and me both. So yeah, join us, won't you? Please.
Yes.
That sounded a bit bigging. I think we've got about a minute to go before the cars take to the track for real. I owe Termo an apology. It was actually Wayne Spencer who sent me base over Apex.
Brilliant. And we also made mention of the next series coming up for TCAC, and that will be the Le Mans Midgets, which is a project that I was involved with helping Brock put together. Not in any like technical way. Brock did all the technical stuff himself because he's amazing at this sort of stuff. But looking back at the group. I think it was Group 5 lead. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was the late 60s, early 70s Le Mans prototype era, basically.
I think it was Group 5, and there's going to be Group C, and...
There's not quite going to be Group C.
No.
I think it's going to be based on the S5, S3, and C... I think it's called C2 regulations.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be 3 classes, and... basically, think Aussie racing cars, but with 70s Le Mans car shells.
Yep.
is what it's going to be like. And based on the mod, the preliminary mod, based on the feedback and the way that the cars look and race against each other, it's going to be a very, very cool series. And we the series was only announced around a week ago in the TCAC Discord, and there's already people making skins and committing to classes, and the sign up hasn't even opened yet. So that is going to be an awesome series to be a part of, and it's going to give us the privileged opportunity to share some of the most fascinating motorsport stories with you guys. So yeah. I'm very, very excited for that. We don't have a start date on them as well just yet, but rest assured, we are going to go to the nines to bring you the Le Mans Midgets.
To the point you'll tell us to stop being so anarchy, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
but it's going to be fantastic. And I drove the cars around Calder Park. They are so fun. They're so chuckable.
Oh, yeah. Aren't they? Aren't they?
Yeah. Even the pace difference is it was about 1.5 seconds in my crappy driving style around the Calder, so... It's going to be a new element to these guys.
Yeah,
it's going to be a new element,
and it'll be really cool. And we'll put together a more formal explanation video probably at some point, maybe, provided life stuff doesn't get in the way. But until then, we do have still 5 more rounds of the ATC series to conclude, to resolve is the word I was looking for. Mm-hmm. And the first of those is going to be coming your way very, very shortly.
In fact, the cars are coming onto grid now. So just waiting for the last couple. We've got Emmanuel Santino in the pit lane still, and Luke Rosella's just lagged. There, he's come back. There he goes. Thank you, Luke. So I think we have 25 cars around Hidden Valley, and away we go with the grid. So, pole position this evening, Luke Rosella, first pole for the Curie Volvo Brunswick number 55. Joining him in the front row, Damien Rasmussen, Cindy Sim Racing. Third place, Scotty Nolan. And fourth place, Brendan Hobson, rounding up the Cindy Sim trio. Fifth place will be Lime Mitch. Sixth place, Hans Brunswick in the Triple One Volvo. Seventh place will be Will Devonish in the 190E Mercedes Devonouche. Eighth place, Wazza Spencer, the number 50 Domino's Pizza. Beautiful throwback livery in eighth. Ninth place, Tumo Engineering. Ooh, have we just had a car go off on the warm-up lap?
It is quite possible. I will check that out.
Yes, we do.
In the meantime.
Ninth place, Tumo. 10th place, Brock Harvey. Thanks, Jingle Slides. Thank you, Brock. 11th place, Peter Siraj in the number 3 Marlboro Sierra.
And it was
Scotty Murrell.
Scott Murrell who would be starting from 12th that had a spin on the formation lap. Just got a wheel onto the grass and clogged up the rest of the field. He's making his way back through the field. 13th will be Cracker in another one of the Sierras. Then it is Ozrob in the Dale Smith Flooring number 555 Skyline out of 14th. Daniel Cox in the Silk Cut HSV, not Jaguar, in 15th. Cam Rutledge in the CRE Sierra out of 16th. Rhodey in the Thermo Engineering Sierra out of 17th. Steve Bolger, not quite at the head of where he wants to be, down in 18th to start this race. Matt Cecil in the Norton Hornet Skyline in 19th. Adam Kerrison in the Volvo down in 20th. Good to have Adam back on the ATCC racing. Brian Walsh, Mapatazzi Racing 21st. Dane Liccardo down in 22nd. I know he will be disappointed with that, but let's hope he comes through the field. Glenn Miles in 23rd. Luke Joyner didn't qualify in 24th. And Manuel Santino also didn't qualify. It will start in 25th. So 25 cars for this 50-minute hit out around Hidden Valley Raceway for the ATCC Round 8.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Long run to turn 1. Expect fireworks. As we get ready to go now, waiting for the beeps. And we're away in Darwin. Brilliant start from Damien Raceway. He's got a great run. And actually, you think the Volvo's got bogged down a bit as he's going to get the trio of Cindy cars. And Lime Mitch as well around the outside. Very aggressive into turn 1.
It will be Rasmussen who takes the whole shot ahead of Nolan. Lane Mitch already up into third through on both the pole sitter and Brendan Hobson, who's dropped. He's actually gained a spot. They're going to go side by side through turns 3 and 4. A little bit of panel rub there, but our pole sitter has dropped down 4 positions down to 5th as he tries to make a move on the inside of Brendan Hobson into turn 5. At the moment, it is Rasmussen from Nolan from Lime Mitch. Then Brendan Hobson is your top 4.
And Rosello trying to go around the outside of turn 6, will of course give him the inside to turn 7 if he can stick it out. But I think Hoppo's going to get the drive around the outside, and yes, he does.
So now that's both Ecurie Brunswick Volvos next to each other on the road. Will Devonish hasn't had a great start. He's dropped down 2 positions already down into 9th, and he's trying to move Brock Harvey over to get that position done as they head down onto the main straight. But it is Damien Rasmussen leading the field, and he's already got such a gap over his teammate Scott Nolan, who has Lime Mitch for company as they head down the main straight.
1.6 seconds already. Great opening lap. I think we had a pretty clean opening lap as well. I called that as we said, Lime Mitch going down the inside into 1, gets the move done, and I think Hobbo's going to be vulnerable, not quite up there as well. So I called that it was going to be fireworks in turn 1. I didn't realise that the Volvo had such a terrible opening lap, had a terrible start.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess there for Rosella in the end. He's still stuck behind Hobbo's HSV, so not where he would want to be after that first lap. But the one who had the dynamite start was, Rasmussen from the front row, who's gained out almost 2 seconds over Lime Mitch already, just a lap and a half done. Through the field, big movers and shakers so far. Ozrob up 3 spots. Wayne Spencer down 4, just on the edge of the top 10. Matt Cecil also up 3. And Luke Joyner from the rear of the field up into 17th place. So he's done a great job off the start. And Steve Bolger has been the biggest loser so far, down 6 places, 24th in the BMW.
That's not where he should be. Not where he wants to be either.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, he's got a much more pace than that. He's obviously just had a unfortunate time of it. As we start lap 3, looks like everyone sort of sorted themselves out in the top 10. Further back, a bit of a scrap between Scotty Murrell, Cracker, and the Silk Cut HSV, which apparently actually did race in the World Touring Car Championship.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, is that the one that raced at Spa not one, but raced at Spa?
It quite possibly might be. We'll have to do some follow-up on that.
Yep, as we see Wazza make the move on Ozrob for 11th place into turn 5. Because you go.
Go ahead.
There you go.
I was going to say, this is the start of Wayne's recovery here. We saw him with some very good practice times up near the head of the field. HSV seemed to do quite a good job here, and so his run as Ozrob tries to sneak past down the inside, he'll be wanting to make sure that he gets a bit. Oh, no, he's gone off. He's going to slide it down, and he's collected the Armco, and it's created a Constantina, which is taking out a few more cars. Scott Murrell is involved, Daniel Cox, and I think Cracker and Ozrob as well got tangled up in that all while this is happening, Damien Rasmussen set a new fastest lap, and Wayne Spencer has dropped down to 11th.
19th, actually.
Oh, 19th. Sorry, he started 11th.
Yeah. I think he actually got a bit of contact there as well.
I'm going on board now just to have a quick look out of the rear of Wayne Spencer's HSV, and it didn't look like it. It got very close, but it looked like it was just a big wiggle right on the point of turn-in down the hill, and that was enough to send him off towards the inside. So unlucky for him, and also unlucky for the likes of Cracker and those other cars involved, Ozrob as well, who got caught in, and Scott Morrill, who is now down in last place.
Dang. Luke Joyner's continuing his charge up now up to 12th place from the back of the grid. That's impressive. As Race Racing sets another fastest lap of the race.
And they're playing Formula 3 games down the main straight. Lane Mitch all the way to the inside wall to try and defend from Nolan and Hobson, who used the draft and then swing back out to take the racing line. Nolan around the outside tries to hang it out there, and
he's going to get it done.
So, yeah, well done. And now Lime's got Hobson for company as well. They're going to go side by side through turns 3 and 4. A little bit of contact. Lime hangs him up on the curb there. A little aggressive defending there. Wasn't quite a HSV's room on the curb. And Lime almost sends it around off the curb of turn 5. So a bit of a frantic few minutes or few seconds there for Lime Mitch. But he does hold down third position at the moment.
Interesting he couldn't that as aggressive defending. I thought that was overly aggressive by Hobson himself. Trying to stick a car where he probably didn't need to go.
Well, the thing is that the track narrows in, and so if you're not given the space, if there's an overlap and you're not given that space, then there's not really much that you can do there. So I think Lime was maybe a bit unkind in not leaving the space, but it was certainly aggressive from the pair of them. Lucky that it didn't end up in the fence.
And Rasmussen goes faster again. Now 4.5 seconds ahead of this battle. He's just checking out.
Oh, and he's had the luxury to as well. I think Nolan and Lime trying to battle their way through has really slowed the pair of them up as Lime gets a touch in turn 1 from Hobson, and that's an invite that Luke Rosella is easily able to take, and he jumps the pair of them back up into third.
We'll see what Lime Mitch can do into 5. He's going to send it down the inside, and I think Luke Rosella's saying, yep, have that line, but you'll go on the outside to the hairpin if you stay there. And he gets it done before the hairpin anyway. This is a great battle.
A bit of a mess so far. It was, just a little tap right at the midpoint of the first corner that upset both Hobson and Lime Mitch. And Luke Rosella, the door was open. He just waltzed right through it. So he's back up into third. He's managed to make those passes, and he's going to try and get onto the tail of Nolan, who's also checked out from this battle. Hans, his teammate, hasn't had the same level of consistency just yet in his attempt to get onto the back of those guys ahead. He still sits in 6th, and Will Devonish hasn't moved from his starting his first lap, dropped down to 9th. He still sits there, and it looks like we've lost our first runner for the evening. Brian Walsh has DC'd from the race after going wide at turn 1 and spinning it into the infield. So I think he's had a little bit of enough, and sits in the garage.
Okay, Hoppo's just trying to make a move on Lime Mitch into 5. Lime Mitch, same thing that happened to Luke Rosella, gave him plenty of room, and it's going to hang him around the outside of the hairpin. But if Hoppo can hang it around here, then obviously got the inside line into 7. He's been able to hang it, and he should be able to pull away on the inside, and no, Lime Mitch is actually, eventually sees the position. He can't run too wide eventually.
Hobbo did very well to run around the outside there. He went very deep under brakes, really committed to wrapping the car around. Lime Mitch had to narrow up the exit of the hairpin, and that allowed Hobbo to swoop through on the inside of turn 7. So well done, Hobbo.
That's your classic Darwin move, that.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's one of the ways that we talk about constructing a pass. That's exactly what happened there. Hobbo constructed that pass 3 or 4 corners before it was actually made. And his racecraft was his racecraft was what was able to allow him to make that pass in the end.
Put your teeth back in.
I'll try.
Yeah. And we'll go
after last night's GT3 action. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. So the brain is the mouth is trying to operate faster than the brain can keep up at the moment.
which is par for the course for you, I would have thought. But anyway, moving on.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
No problem. Further down, looks like Daniel Cox, Wazza Spencer, and Matt Cecil are fighting over the minors, 14th through 16th. Just a bit of a brake lock up from Wayne Spencer as he actually taps the silk cut Jag and sends him off course.
Silk cut Jag again.
Oh god, yeah.
It's just iconic. It's iconic. That's one of the things. So Cox and Wayne Spencer, of course, caught up in that incident caused by Wayne down the final corner. They're trying to recover, and they got Matt Cecil for company, who's up 4 spots at the moment. So well done, Matt Cecil.
Beautiful Norton Hornet there. And
in fact, Cecil was ahead of this pair at the start of the lap, but actually made a mistake in the first sector. So he's managed to get back ahead of Daniel Cox, at least for this stage.
He absolutely has. Going back up front because we have a bit of action again. No, Hobbo wasn't 4th, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So no action. I just can't read my timing. It's fine.
It looks like actually Termo has made some sort of mistake somewhere because he has dropped from 7th place down to 9th.
I'm going to see.
And
Ooh, I've got that on stream now. So is it coming into turn 5? Will Devonish down the inside?
That was afterwards. That was Will getting past. But what actually happened is Termo missed his braking zone into turn 1 and almost cleaned up Hans Brunswick. He had to dive to the inside and send it off into the gravel in order to avoid the Ecurie Brunswick Volvo, and allowed Brock Harvey and then Will Devonish a chance to wrap him up through the infield section.
There you go. Kristen's asking us for a go Hans, so yeah, go Hans.
Oh, no Hans. No, that's fine. We actually just had Hans' teammate, Luke Rosella, make a mistake at turn 1 and allow Brendan Hobson through for 3rd place. So again, just a lazy little mistake into turn 1, missed the braking zone, and that was enough to just run him wide and allow Brendan Hobson through.
Easy.
So it's a Synergy Sim Racing 1, 2, 3.
Oh, where have we heard that before?
Every single race that Synergy Sim Racing has ever done in TCAC since the beginning of last year.
Basically, since we started calling this madness.
Exactly.
Looks
but
like...
hey, they're good operators. They absolutely know what they're doing, and yeah, at the moment it shows. We're already 11 minutes in, 10 laps down, and yeah, they've made themselves happy with a 1, 2, 3.
Yep, expecting about 46, 47 laps this evening. As we see 7th through 10th looking pretty juicy. Brock Harvey, Will Devonish, Termo, and Peter Siraj. All nose to tail coming down the front straight.
So Siraj should be able to use the top end of that Sierra. In fact, it's actually Termo who's using the top end most effectively as they try to go down the main straight. And Devonish, very exuberant into turn 1, locks up the inside, but that Mercedes nimbleness has allowed him to keep it on the island for now.
And it's going to leave Devonish very vulnerable into 5. You can see Termo, if he dives to the inside, nope, not going to dive to the inside this time around. That Holden, or the HSV, is actually incredibly... I thought it'd be stronger than that around here.
It's incredibly punchy.
Yeah.
It's got that punch out of the slower corners, but through that through the floaty sections, it's not quite where it needs to be, especially to challenge the Merc. So
I've noticed as well that the Merc is taking some very different lines to everyone around him.
That might just be Will. Will has been a proponent of doing something different.
This is true.
As he gets a... Oh, no, he goes around, runs it over the exit of the curb, and he's spun it into the wall.
And he's on his 2 wheels.
On the wall, on the exit of the final corner. Oh no, Will Devonish, once again being his own worst enemy. It was just an innocuous little spin on the exit of the final corner. And it's just a little bit of grass, a little bit of wheel spin, and these walls are just not very kind to him, and he gets back going down in 16th. 16th place for Will Devonish. 17th now with Morrow coming through.
That's... I mean, I know we just said he likes to do something different. I didn't realise that Rallycross was his version of different. Trying to get up on 2 wheels over a jump.
Yeah, not... Ooh, pardon me. Not ideal for Will. It's been a week, man. It's been a week. Not ideal for Will. He now sits in 17th, which is on the very tail end of the points. I think it's actually outside the points for the moment. And his direct championship rivals are currently sitting in 2nd and third. So a long way back for Will Devonish if he's to score any meaningful points and maintain his championship lead.
This could work massive. Oh, who was that? You just shot off stage right at turn 1.
That was probably Rhodey. I think he's just come out of the pits in that Sierra. So he just very nicely gets out of the way of everyone as the field rumbles through past him.
Yep. As we see, is that Turmo? No, it's Glenn Miles, I think, pointing backwards at turn 5.
Yes. So I can almost guarantee what he's done there is he's gotten wide over the curb at the exit of turn 5 and just looped it lazily to the inside. He actually hit the wall pretty hard, did Glenn Miles.
Ouch. So he's just chilling at the view at the moment. I'm going to go down to 12th place because that battle is still raging between Joyner and Wazza. Wazza's actually ahead of Joyner now, so that is a change of position that we didn't catch on camera. But Spencer's full-on drifted through turn 6. Well, how so
remember, it's actually that battle used to be between Wayne Spencer and Daniel Cox and Matt Cecil. So that's Luke Joyner from the tail of the field up into 13th place. So very good run so far from Joyner. He's done well to keep his nose clean. And he's now terrorizing the rear of Wayne Spencer's slidey domino machine.
Yeah. Is he going to be able to topple the domino in this race? He'll be hoping to do it soon. Yeah. As we see some pit callers.
So who we got in the pits? It looks like that was Glenn Miles, who was a lap down. So that makes sense. Yeah, he's now in the pits.
Yep.
We got Damien Rasmussen coming up to some lap runners. He's just rounding up Dane Liccardo at the bottom of the valley. And the battle for third between Hobbo and Rosella has gotten a lot tighter in the last few laps, with Rosella actually setting a purple middle sector last lap around.
Ooh, that Volvo is pacey. We'll see. Now, I was going to ask you this but we got distracted by Le Mans chat. We haven't seen the two-stop strategy work at all this series. We're not going to see it tonight, are we?
I would suspect not.
Yeah.
If any, I don't think this track is hard enough on the tyres to warrant a two-stop. The only real corner of the car that's under a lot of stress is Rosella's put Brendan Hobson under a lot of stress as they're blocking each other into turn 1. The only corner in the car that's under a lot of stress in these cars is the front right. The front right takes an absolute beating coming down the hill. But even then, in my practice, it might be different for some others. It wasn't enough to warrant a second pit stop. So I think the one stop again will be the way to go tonight. It'll be a matter of when you make that one stop.
Given that it is fairly low stress then, the undercut could come into play.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's certainly not unheard of, and it's going to be quite a fast pit lane. Speed limit of 100 Ks, and no real pit entry or exit marker though. So we might see a few mistakes on the entry to pit lane, but you won't be losing as much as you would on another version of the circuit.
Yeah. As
I think Rasmussen's just rounded up Manuel Centino as well in the Sierra.
He has.
Down in 20th.
Yep. The pit lane here, those of you who watch modern day racing will know there's a little dinky chicane. That's not in this version.
No, it's not. It's straight in.
Yeah.
We got a drag race down the main straight between Turmo and Peter Siraj, with the help of Rhodey in the Sierra there. So Siraj made that move down the main straight with the help of the Sierra's top end capabilities, and he's very nicely put Rhodey in between himself and Turmo, so that will allow Siraj some defense going through some of the slower sections that the Sierra might normally struggle with.
And it's a position that Turmo can't do anything about as well. Rhodey just solved that anyway by spinning.
Classic Rhodey.
I was going to say, though, that Rhodey's just found himself in an awkward position through nothing of his own doing, and he can't really get out of the way from there either.
Yeah, exactly right. He kind of just stuck there in that section. And we actually do have a pit caller. We have Steve Bolger in the pits from 19th place. So he is our first pit caller in the BMW.
There we go. So
as the leaders come by.
Yep, starting lap 17 now. Oh, 3 wide between... Oh, what is going on there?
Was that Hobson, Rosella, and Manuel Centino down the main straight?
Yeah, that was very awkward from the Volvo. Sort of jinked both directions very awkwardly.
Maybe he was trying to get into the slipstream, but found that that there was already an overlap there. So almost an accident on the main straight, but lucky for Rosella that he kept it out of both cars and the wall.
What it was actually Rosella trying to go on the inside of the Synergy Sim machine, going, oh crap, there's Sierra there, can't go that way.
Yeah, exactly. And this traffic hasn't really worked well for Hobbo. It's actually allowed Rosella to get back onto the tail and stay on the tail of the Synergy Sim Racing HSV. So their battle for third continues on, but it's still a 4-second gap at the front between Rasmussen and Nolan, and now 3 seconds between Nolan and this battle for third.
With half an hour to go, why don't you say we do a summary of the field, where the field's at? So there's
Fantastic.
Rasmussen just coming across the line now. Scotty Nolan coming across in second place, 4 seconds back. And there's Brenton Hobson and Luke Rosella. Dan Ricardo a lap down. Lyle Mitch in 5th place. Hans Brunswick in 6th. There's Manuel Santino also a lap down. Brock Harvey in 7th. Then Peter Siraj and Turmo. Bit of a gap back here for a tasty 3-car battle between... Oh, that's a couple of cars a lap down. Rhodey and Cam Rutledge. There's Turmo. Ozrob, sorry.
Ozrob, Cracker, there's Glenn Miles.
Yep.
And then there's that Wayne Spencer.
Yep. And then we have, would be Luke Joyner. Still an impressive first half of the race from himself. Then
we've got a yellow flag at the front, first corner, and there's been a bit of a bust-up here between, it looks like Cam Rutledge, Ozrob, and Cracker.
Ooh.
So... what?
I'll see if I can get that on replay. I just want to leave this tasty battle behind because Wayne Spencer...
Oh...
What happened? Oh,
so
sorry to interrupt. Cracker's just got into the back of the Domino's machine and spun him into the Endurance Chat Armco as on 5.
Oh no, so it's continued on then. That's a real shame because it was a bit of Constantino. So what happened in the first corner is Cam Rutledge just looped it and then tried to return to the track straight away and found himself on the racing line while Ozrob and Cracker came around. So that's why they got held up. Wayne Spencer was able then to jump into that mix, and then, a bit of nose to tail between Cracker, Spencer, and then Ozrob has fired Spencer to the inside there. So a bit unfortunate for everyone involved there. It all started, unfortunately, thanks to a mistake from a lapped runner.
What it has meant is Peter Siraj has benefited quite well from that. He's now back on right on the tail of Brock Harvey. This is the classic Holden versus Ford battle that we've seen in the ATCC days.
Time and time again. Oh, yeah. So they're squabbling now over 7th. They have Turmo just behind. Ozrob now completes the 10. But we got side-by-side action for 3rd place between Hobbo and Luke Rosella as they come onto the main straight.
Just flicked up to that now, just as they were going through the downhill section. As the Volvo's going to get an amazing draft here as a case of can he use it. Anyways, is Hobbo going to flip to the inside? Ooh, bit of contact there.
It wasn't quite contact, but it was very, very close. Rosella pulls out to the inside, and they slam on the anchors at the same time. Hobbo leaves just enough room. No, he doesn't. He squeezes Rosella into that tyre barrier there, and that was not Raven from Hobson.
That was no.
I think he might get a little slap on the wrist for that one.
That was no bueno.
It was exactly the same thing that Lime Mitch did to him earlier. He cut down the room, and there was an overlap, which meant that Luke Rosella had no choice but to either hit Hobson or hit the tyre barrier. So not quite, we'll call it touchy action. Thank you, Mike, in the chat. Touchy action from Hobbo and Rosella there.
No touching, it's coronavirus restrictions. No touching between competitors, please.
Exactly, guys. You got to respect. Yeah, you got to respect the protocols.
That was just and that's just really. I don't want to call it blatantly unfair, but it's just not smart driving.
Yeah, I'd agree. It causes a problem where they didn't need to be one.
Yeah.
For those two, we've got Ozrob in the pits now. He's just returning to the track. He pit from, it would have been 11th spot, and he's going to come out just behind Dane Liccardo in, I think that's 18th for Ozrob. So you lose quite a fair bit around with the pits anyway. And it looks like Scott Morrow's had a moment as well.
Our local, our NT local.
Yes.
He's not even on my timing screen.
In a very slow final sector. I think he must have just gone into the pits.
Okay. Well, makes sense. We're about halfway through, so if you're going to split the race in half, now's a good time to do it.
Unless he's had an issue that we've seen at other race circuits where it's just not registered a lap for him. This has happened before. We've seen it where if a competitor goes off and misses a timing mark or something like that, that they cannot get credited with a lap. But with a 2 minutes and 40-second final sector, that to me sounds like he's just not been given a lap. And in fact, it's been corrected now, I think. No, it hasn't. So he's effectively just lost a lap for no reason.
Damn. He better go put up that fire of a timing issue. Because he's a firefighter.
Yeah, quite a weird one.
Yeah, that's very strange. Haven't seen too many more pit callers that lap either. So it's going to be a mad rush into the pit lane in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, we've just hit the halfway point, and I think I spy a Volvo in the pits, and it is the Equerry Brunswick, the eponymous Brunswick machine, the one driven by Hahn. So he's coming to the pits, and he will slot out just behind Wayne Spencer in 13th position. He'll have Matt Cecil hot on his tail. We also have Cracker in the pits as well. So
and here comes the leader.
There you go. So splitting the race exactly in the half is the leader.
Yep. His Synergy Sim teammate of Scotty Nolan will inherit the lead. We'll see what Hobson does. Hobson comes in, as does Luke Rosella. So
they'll continue their battles, and that kind of annoys me. It would have been wise for one or both of them to try and do something different in that battle, to try and do the undercut or overcut. But as it stands, they're both in the pits at the same time.
Yep.
And so they will not have the opportunity to do that.
We'll keep an eye on Lime Mitch because he did stay out. So this could potentially work in Lime Mitch's favour if he can do some hammer time now.
And Luke Rosella has gained back a lot in that pit stop. He's on the tail of Rasmussen as they leave the pits, whereas Hobson is much further back. So
he's been rounded up by Luke Joyner. 2 tyres first 4.
I'm confused because it's showing Rasmussen in 12th. But okay, so we're having some timing glitches as the sectors all get rectified. Because it's showing Rasmussen as, there we go, it now updated him back ahead of Rosella and Hobson. I've got no idea what's happening at the moment with the game because Hobson's coming through.
Lime Mitch is pitting.
Pardon me.
I wonder if pitting's throwing everything off and maybe the timing shift is not counting to people in the pit lane.
Potentially, yes. So I'm not sure. We'll have to keep an eye on how that all goes.
Well, Lime Mitch is currently in the pit lane. Could just be that they are dropping a lap in the pits as well.
Quite possibly.
And Lime Mitch is away, short stop from Mitchell. And we see the number 55 machine coming in behind him. The Volvo.
Coming in again. So maybe the reason that Rosella's stop was so quick is that he's forgotten to take tires or something stupid like that. We have seen people make that mistake before. So Rosella coming in for a double dip in the pits, and he's going to significantly lose out. As we've got Luke join us backwards on the main in the first corner.
Yes, what on earth happened to Joyner there? Roddy's near him, but I don't think he's involved. I think Luke's done this on his own, and he has. Just way too hot. Way too hot.
Yeah, lost the rears, and that was enough to send him around there. So, yeah, quite a weird one.
So let's just try and take stock of what's actually happening here. First car that has pitted, we believe, is Damien Rasmussen in 11th.
Yes, but that doesn't seem right. I think what's happening is that it's not scoring the people who go through the pit lane. So you lose a lap. You have to do it. Yeah, it doesn't count the lap that you go into the pits for some reason. So I think that might be something to do with the control line extending across, or some glitch with the track. Because what that has meant now is that Luke Rosella, for example, is significantly down the order as one of the Synergy Sim racing cars. Brendan Hobson just runs a little wide at turn 1.
So this battle for what we think is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th on track at the moment. No, it can't be, because that's a car of Dane Liccardo who's scoring in 9th at the moment.
Yeah, so it's all very, very weird and confusing and scary. I'll have a look at the lap times because I don't think that they're spending 2 minutes in the pits. And yeah, even for as Manuel Santino gets to drive through penalty, I'm not sure what that one is for. Let's have a look at Damon Rasmussen's lap times. So yeah, on the lap that he pitted, it's given him a 2 minutes final sector, which to me sounds like it just did score him as he crosses the line. So for those who have taken an additional stop, like for example, Luke Rosella, it is actually going to score him 2 laps further down than where he should be. In fact, Luke Rosella's last lap, because he went out, then came back in to make a change, or because he'd forgotten to do tires, his last lap has come through at almost 4 minutes long. So he's scored down in 21st position, which should not be the case. So we might have to do a little bit of touching up the results post-race to reflect some of the scoring mishaps that we've got throughout the race.
This is a nightmare for race control. Thank God I'm not race control here. I'm just a commentator.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what it has been currently is is currently leading the race on the road. 32 seconds ahead of Matt Cecil and 35 ahead of Luke Joyner. Oh, no, timing's just jumping all over the place now.
Yeah, so hopefully what will happen is that once everyone has taken their pit stop, we'll get some sort of semblance of where everyone is. So at the moment, Spencer and Dane Liccardo have not taken their pit stop, and Damon Rasmussen is the first who has taken his pit stop, and he is showing in third, but I think he is still leading the race. But the two ahead of him, Liccardo and Spencer, are scored in third, first and second by virtue of not having dropped a lap with the glitch of coming into the pits.
That would make sense, because then it's a synergies and Damon Rasmussen, Scotty Nolan, Brendan Hobson, line match. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
What that does mean is Hans Brunswick has now jumped up into 5th place as a result of his teammate's misfortune.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that second pit stop is actually legit.
Yes, exactly right. So where is Rosella on track? He's currently coming through turn 1, which I think puts him around 11th place. So just behind Will Devonish, I think. We'll have to, once everything sorts itself out, once Spencer and Liccardo come into the pits, we'll have to just do a little bit of a roll through the field just to see where everyone is and to see what what's going on.
Yep. Meanwhile, Dan Liccardo can gloat in the fact he's second in the ATCC race.
Shut up, Liccardo. Shut up, Dane.
There we go.
You set me up perfectly. I'm very happy.
So
for those who don't understand what's going on, last night in a different category, as Liccardo gets a hurry up from Rasmussen, there was a bit of banter in the Twitch stream for, I think, Hans Brunswick, and Liccardo said something quite dumb, and I think we all share our thoughts with. I don't think it was Hans who replied. I'm not exactly sure who replied, but yeah, shut up, Dane. Nah, Dane, we love you.
Yeah. So Woz has just come out of the pit lane now, so we'll keep an eye on him to make sure that he rectifies the timing, because if it doesn't, then we're absolutely screwed.
So what should happen here is, as Spencer goes around, because he still scored in first, as everyone crosses the line, it should drop him down the order, and there it goes. He's dropped now down to 4th, 5th, so it'll rectify itself, and when Spencer gets around to the start-finish line once again, that will show us where he is on track.
Yes. Just going down to Wazza and Will Devonish. I think this is a corrected battle now for 10th and 11th.
Quite possibly, yes.
Yes. And it's a pretty willing battle too. Will Devonish trying to get to the inside. You can't go to the inside there. That's asking a bit too much of your cars. It goes through the final corner now. Wayne Spencer's actually got a bit wrong. Missed the apex by a good metre, and is going to give the Devonish Mercedes a chance into turn 1. If he can continue to run, but no. Spencer's actually pulling away.
Well, of course, that Mercedes does not have the top-end capabilities of the HSV, and all the HSV needed to do was make sure that it was ahead coming out of the final corner to run down the straight, and that is the corrected battle on track. So Wayne Spencer is now in 10th place. Liccardo is coming into the pits now, but the leaders are actually already passing him, so he'll. I think that puts him a lap down on the field at the moment.
That will put him a lap down because he was near the tail end of the field. So 16 minutes to go. The timing's recovered from its misstep.
Not quite. It will be fully perfectly normally recovered when Liccardo gets back around to the start-finish line to start what will be his 28th lap.
Yep. So
and hopefully at that point we'll be able to give everyone a snapshot of where everyone is.
yes. Well, what I can tell is out front the margin's only 2.5 seconds now. So either there was a bit of shenanigans at the pit stop, or Damien Rasmussen has just taken it easy on track, as I think we've gone yellow at... Yes, that's Glenn Myers on the inside of the track at the final corner.
And it's still showing yellow as he comes onto the main straight, so no safety car at this stage, but still a yellow flag in the final corner as Miles is sitting on the apex waiting for a gap.
Yep, and Liccardo's now gone a lap down, so we are as you were.
Cleansed, as they say.
Indeed. Wow.
After that frantic bit of sorting out, what we can say is as Dane Liccardo comes into turn 5, he is Damien Rasmussen rather, not Dane Liccardo. He is the leader of the race, and he has just passed Cracker to put him a lap down. Then it is Scott Nolan just coming through the hairpin. Then Brendan Hobson. Manuel Santino is 2 laps down on Hobbo. Steve Bolger is a lap down there. And then that's Lime Mitch in 4th place. Hans Brunswick sits 5th. And he has Daniel Cox a lap down. And then Rhodey another lap down, as is Adam Kerrison. Peter Suraj is 6th place at the moment. And he has Brock Harvey only a second behind in 7th. Termo is sitting in 8th place as he comes through the hairpin. And there is Luke Rosella.
Sorry to interrupt. We just had a Wayne Spencer and Will Devonish made contact at turn 1 for 9th and 10th, and the Mercedes actually went around quite significantly. It's dropped back a good 4 seconds.
And that almost puts him in the clutches of Scott Murrell in the big dog Commodore.
With Matty Cecil, the Nook and Hornet Skyline just behind him.
That's actually a pretty good battle pack there. So from Wayne Spencer to Will Devonish, Scott Murrell, Matt Cecil, Luke Joyner, Ozrob, they're all that all passes for position. So when we get a chance, we'll lock off somewhere nice and we'll have a look at the field as it all goes past, and we'll find our race leader and we'll show everyone where everyone is.
Indeed we will. I'm just going to the race leader. He's coming through the final corner. Do you want to do it on the front straight?
I think the front straight is a bit of a boring spot to do it, but it does show the gaps. I quite liked it at the hairpin. I was doing it at the hairpin.
Oh, is that where you're doing it?
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Aha. Cool. Well, as you see, Luke Joyner trying to go around the outside of Matty Cecil into one. That ain't going to work for you, buddy. Oh, there's lap traffic there of Dane Liccardo as well. This is good.
It might work. It might work, you know. Luke Joyner, he's actually held it there, and there is the race leader in the background of shot. Yep. So Joyner's actually made that move. Well done.
Jesus, how on earth did he do that?
I know. Oh!
Wow, that was... I was running on board with Damien Rasmussen at the time, and Dane Liccardo just got a tank slapper, nearly wiped out Rasmussen, but in the end just going to the infield at 5. Got away with that one, to Damien.
There actually was a little bit of contact there between the two HSVs.
Yep, that's crazy. All right, I'm going to lock off. Where have I locked off? That's a terrible camera to lock off at. There we go. So Damien Rasmussen just coming through turn 8 there. There's his teammate Scotty Nolan, and Brendan Hobson running 3rd place. Big gap back to Lime Mitch.
Yeah, in that as well, we had Cracker and Ozrob, so they were battling for position. There was Cam Rutledge, there's Lime Mitch and Steve Bolger. Dane Liccardo recovering with Hans Brunswick just behind him, and that is Manuel Santino, pardon me. Daniel Cox is a lap down, he has Rhodey for company, and then there's Peter Suraj, and there is Brock Harvey. So those two are engaged in a bit of a battle. There was Adam Kerrison that came through, he's down in 18th. Termo is in 8th, and Glenn Miles trying his best to run wide there, down in 24th position. There is the Volvo of Luke Rosello. So his corrected position at this stage should be 9th, but he's currently scored in 19th because of the timing glitch with the pit lane. And then there is a big gap in space on the road down to Wayne Spencer, who runs at 9th. Then there is Will Devenish, corrected 11th, pardon me. There's Scott Morrill, there's Luke Joyner, and there is our race leader with Matt Cecil just behind him. So that gives you an idea of the gaps on track. There is a significant gap between 8th place Termo, 9th place on corrected order, Luke Rosello, and in fact, Luke Rosello, I think, is just disconnected or just is retired from the race.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in the pits.
That's... I'm trying to get him... I'm trying to see if... that's... What on earth happened there?
He's just come in. He's just given it up, which, yeah, is very unfortunate for Luke. So, especially after qualifying on the pole for the Ecurie Brunswick team for Volvo. A bit of a shame to see his race end in the pit lane when he was on corrected position in the top 10. So very unfortunate. Yeah. In fact, I might do a little bit of digging and see what the reason is for that. So I'll leave you to commentate as we've got 10 minutes left.
Okay, we just had a bit of a cluster going into turn 1 with cars all over the place. Some a lap down, some not a lap down. That was an absolute mess. No contact, but it's just cars everywhere. I think we saw Cam Rutledge going really slow, trying to get out of the way. So with 10 minutes to go, we have a bit of a battle here. I know there's a lap down car. Brock Harvey making his way through on Roadie and the Silk Cut HSV. Up front, the gap's currently 3 seconds. So Synergy Sim Racing just taking their team, pacing the race nicely. 3 seconds gaps between all three of them. Lion Mitch a further 9 back. It's going to be hard for him to make that distance up with the time we have remaining.
Hello again.
Hello again. Where'd you find out?
So it was just a problem on Rosella's end. So he unfortunately decided to park the car, and that brings our 25 car field down to 23 as we've got a spinning Termo on the main straight.
Ooh, we have got a spinning Termo on the main straight. What on earth has he done there? Coming through the last, all on his own sim, just gassed it up, and there he goes into the inside wall with the drag strip.
There was a little bit of a tip there that happened. I'm not sure if he's hit some sort of glitch in the circuit, but that seemed to sort of tip as he came off the curb. So poor moment for Termo, but luckily he hasn't lost any positions with that spin.
We've seen a few cars do that. Obviously Will Devenish early on in the race. I just do wonder if this circuit this mod isn't quite as perfect as some people claimed it to be.
Yeah, not ideal. We've had a few little technical gremlins with this track tonight.
Yeah.
Which does put a little bit of a damper on things, but as far as the racing quality has gone, it's still been very high quality. As I say that though, I did notice that Peter Siraj had a spin on turn 1 the last lap around.
Yep.
So
and Cracker's having a meal of a time at turn 1. He's had 2 spins in this one lap. He spun, tried to gather it up, and I think he spun again.
That second one's always the embarrassing one.
Yeah.
When you spin it coming back onto the track, that's just like, oh no.
And guess what?
No.
Guess what I just caught on stream?
He spun it again?
I caught the replay of the second spin.
Hey, well done. Well done.
I mean, I can talk. I spun it in pit lane in practice.
Oh, bloody hell, Chris.
Oh, what can I say? I'm not a good racer.
But it's pit lane.
Yeah. So it looks like with 7.5 to go, everyone's sort of spread out apart from down to 16th, Cox and Kerrison. Kerrison's asking how this is Serenity, obviously.
I think that with 7 minutes left, I think we should jump on board with someone. And Brock Harvey is just about to cross the start-finish line.
He's as good
and
as
he's
anyone.
in the booth with us, Brock. Brock, do you want to give us a bit of a tour of Hidden Valley?
You got me?
Yes, we do.
Cool, we're coming into turn 1. Reckon about 125. It's a slow shift down. in the Commodore. Oh, shit. As we just slide it a little bit wide there. Oh, I'm in It's all happening. Slow shift down into second for us in there when I get it right. And then you just keep it flat. 75 metre brake, get into second. You don't want to hit that curb because it unsettles the car. Just feeding the power. 50 into first for this one. Probably the only corner where we'll use first. Get sideways on the way out. Hopefully Lewis isn't too close behind me because I'm not looking. You have to fan the throttle a little bit through here.
Still got a lap car behind you, you're fine.
For the moment.
Grab third, try and kiss the curb. Don't hit it too hard. Kiss the outside curb. Grab fourth real quick on a short shift. Get into second, get it back on in the nose. Get on the power as early as you can for the drag strip. Don't miss your gear change. And then, you come back across the start-finish line. There's a bit going on.
Yeah, well, we're going to leave you there because I've just noticed on the timing screen, Will Devenish dropped down 5 positions, and he is back in the pits.
Oh.
Along with Ozrob.
Okay. That happened more than 20 seconds ago, so I can't see. Would you mind doing a bit of investigating, sir?
I'll do a little bit, but I think it might just be an extra pit stop for some reason. So we're going to have to keep that in mind with the final results. Just to remember that those two have come into the pits once again.
Yeah, Ozrob, I think, was committing to a 2-stopper as well. He did come in pretty early, didn't he?
And Will just came in as well. So, and he stayed in. He's sitting there.
Well, maybe he had that big accident early on. What if he's repairing damage now for some reason? Maybe.
Yeah, a weird time to do it as we're very much at the tail end of the race.
Think of trouble. Just forgot. This is going to put a massive dent in the championship.
Well, this is undoubtedly going to become his drop round, I think.
Which is going to put him on par with Hobbo.
Yeah, as we've got a yellow flag in turn 1. It's Luke Joyner who's gone around again from, I think, 13th spot, 12th spot. And he's actually dropping down the order. He's dropped behind Matt Cecil now. So Cecil in the Norton Hornet makes his ascendancy on that position. And and Joyner's getting blue flags with Hans Brunswick just behind.
And there he is. And this battle between Harvey and Lewis Pettisarad Wedding is closing up nicely. Now just under a second. Within DRS range. But of course, ATCC, what's DRS? What's Aero?
What is Aero? I think the just the look of the Commodore itself is enough of a question, an answer to the question, what is Aero? Of that era.
Exactly. Which I'm surprised actually the Sierra T-Tray. I'm surprised that has any aero benefit.
Oh, it would have a little bit of aero benefit. Probably just creates a bigger low pressure system behind the car, which is arguable whether or not that's a good or bad thing. I'm almost talking out of my butt here. I don't exactly know, but of course any sort of long flat section of the aerodynamics gives you I think it's a more stable platform. So sorry, I did a podcast on sports car aerodynamics. I know you should know this shit, right?
I mean, you did it, but didn't your colleague do most of the technical?
Ollie did most of the heavy lifting on that one. So what I remember from that is the further back you can get that moment of aerodynamics, it kind of acts as a lever. So the further back and the further away you can get the wing from the rear wheels, the lower it can be for the same effect because it's acting as a lever there.
Aha.
So it's basically like pushing a corner, a right angle sort of corner there. So if you like stall the top arm further back, you have to push it less in order to get the same effect, which is why all the sports cars of the 1980s, as I just watched Matt Cecil run a little wide at turn 1, have the rear wing like a meter beyond the rear wheels, because the further back you can get it, the lower it can be and the less drag you get. So the T-tray in that effect would be a part of that. There you go. I did something smart.
There you go. Meanwhile, I didn't notice how Will Devenish is still in the pit lane.
So maybe he's given up the ghosts for the end of the race?
Man, with 2 minutes to go, this is going to be a drop round. Whoa! As we see Rhodey's getting all crossed up ahead of Turmo. Don't know if Turmo got into him there, but that was a very smoky four-wheel drift from Benjamin Rhodes?
So there's a few battles on track that we can keep an eye on in these latter stages. Firstly, the battle for 14th between Daniel Cox, Adam Kerrison, and Cracker is a three-way tussle. And the driver we were just on board with moments ago, Brock Harvey, has his mirrors full of the Peter Siraj Sierra. So that one's going to be an eye to keep, one to keep an eye on, as I think we are just 3 laps away from the finish of this race in Darwin.
Maybe just Sierra catch me out in the straight.
We are.
I was going to say, could be 2 if the guys up front take it easy with their teammates.
Then I'll want to run to the absolute limit. Well, every single time we've had you on screen, Brock, you've run it wide at turn 1. So come on.
I've done it just about every lap.
Yeah, get your head in the game, buddy.
It's never fun having Lewis behind you, I can tell you.
Oh, absolutely. And for those who missed last night's AMS Oz GT3 action at Bahrain, I 100% recommend you go back and have a look at that, because that was some great racing. Lewis was in the heart of it for quite a lot of it, as he's almost in the heart of the rear of that Commodore coming back down the hill.
Coming through turn 7 now. I'm surprised how much speed you can carry through there. Oh, Brock, there's the brake pedal. Use it. As we're coming through to the final corner with 2 laps to go. 4/10. Which way is this going to go?
I think with the Sierra's superior straight line speed, there might be a move on. Brock moves it to the inside, but he has nothing to defend the Sierra going around the outside, separated by 200ths at the line. Brock jumps straight back into the slipstream, but with only 2 laps remaining for this pair, I'm not sure whether or not Brock has the business to be able to make a move back. He's going to make it quick, because otherwise the Sierra is just going to pull away down the straight once again.
He's probably going to get down the next 5 corners.
Yeah, into the hairpin, Brock. You got to send it.
We'll see.
Okay, we're watching. Oh, here's your
sideways.
chance. Here's Brock's. Oh, no! Oh, no!
Oh, Brock! On the penultimate lap, he sends it around. It's lucky you got another 5 seconds before Turbo comes up on you, so you consolidate that 7th position, Brock.
Oh, you got another Sierra behind you now. You're good.
Lewis got sideways and I just followed him. I think I just got on the power at the same time.
Whoa!
That's
Hobson's
the
gone.
difference between a really good driver and me.
Hobson just went off at turn 1 as well. That's not going to affect his position. He's still
Gotta
with
love
8.
that Crackers just hit me for no reason as well.
People can't get enough of hitting you. We're going to leave you there, Brock, because we're on the final lap now, and
Thanks,
the
mate.
leaders. No problems, Brock. We've had a few of the leaders just run it a little deep at turn 1. Hobbo and Lime Mitch that lap around just a little deep, but Damien Rasmussen has had an untroubled race since coming off the front of the field. Qualified second, was leading well before turn 1, and he's managed his victory quite nicely to come around the final corner and lead home a Synergy Sim Racing 1, 2, 3 up at the top end tonight. Rasmussen comes across the line to win for Synergy Sim Racing once again.
Great result, and great result for the team with Scotty Nolan in 2nd, Brendan Hobson coming across the line in 3rd. That's going to help his championship run as well, with Lime Mitch coming across the line now in 4th.
Yes, another 4th for Lime Mitch. He not to spoil anything, but you should definitely watch last night's GT3 action. Brendan Hobson. Hans Brunswick comes across the line in 5th place, and it will be Peter Siraj after his penultimate lap battle with Brock Harvey, who takes home 6th in the Sierra.
As we see, Will Devonish now leaving the pit lane.
Well done, Devonish. Oh, and we've got Cam Rotledge disqualified after post-race, so he'll get put back to his position of 22nd. But Brock Harvey will come across the line in 7th. Turmo just behind in 8th. Wayne Spencer, after that early spin, unfortunately muted his run through the field. He'll come home in 9th place. There he goes. 10th, and he was the last car on the lead lap. So 10th is Scott Murrell, 11th is Matt Cecil, Luke Joyner up 12 spots to 12th from starting from the rear of the grid. Steve Bolger up 5 spots to 13th. Cracker in 14th, Adam Kerrison 15th, Daniel Cox 16th, Dane Liccardo 17th. Oz Rob, unfortunate for him with that second pit stop, in 18th, but remember he will move back up a lap. So he will finish I'm not sure.
I'm going to say
actually.
10th, 11th, I think.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
For him, Rhodey down at 19th, Manuel Centino, Glenn Miles, Will Devonish rounds out your finishes. Cam Rutledge got disqualified post-race, so he'll probably get put back to his 22nd position. Luke Rosella, Brian Walsh, and were the unfortunate DNFs. And that is ATCC round 8 from the top end.
Interesting race, this one. Not high on action, but it was still good battling and relatively clean. Couple of moves we thought were a bit, but all in all, good result. And Synergy Sim 1, 2, 3, just absolute dominance from the team.
Do you want to make that sound again, Chris? Oh, no thanks. With that, we'll move straight into our podium. First place tonight, Damien Rasmussen. Damien, great race from you. Great qualifying lap from you. And from the run into the first corner, you had the entire track to yourself. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I think all three of us were not overly unhappy with our laps in qualifying, but I think we all said after the qualifying that we probably could have had a little bit more in it. I don't think we all perfectly nailed it, but I was close enough, and I just knew I had to get a good start going into one, and I think that's the best start I've gotten these things all season. It was unreal. I felt like I was 10 miles in front of the pack by the time I got into the first corner, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, if you effectively were 2 seconds by the end of the first lap, and from there you were able to manage the gap to the back of the field, or to the rest of the field, which ended up being your teammates. This must feel especially sweet after what happened last time out at Lakeside.
Yeah, it did. I was having PTSD moments about 5 minutes left in the race, especially coming up. I reckon it was the second to last lap. It was a Sierra, I think, and we were going slow into the right-hander before the hairpin, and all I could think of was hitting the back of him. I was having flashbacks. It wasn't very good.
You managed the traffic quite effectively and took home, victory for the Synergy Sim Racing team. You guys 1, 2, 3 on the podium.
Yeah, I was just saying last week how it would be cool to lock out the podium, and it could have been last week, but it wasn't. So it's good to finally get one this week, and well done to the other two boys too as well. Both drove an awesome race. I thought Hobbo was going to have a better crack at Nolan at the end, and that's what I was waiting for, but obviously Nolan was just that little bit too good. So
yeah, well, not quite as good as you were tonight. Congratulations on your win, Damien Rasmussen. Second place tonight was Scotty Nolan. Scott, another clean, calm, and collected performance from you. Another consistent podium for you in the HSV. You must be really happy with that.
Yeah, very pleased. Car was good. We drove it fairly well. Didn't make too many mistakes. The traffic was good. It was pretty fair, pretty kind. So, it was just a matter of finishing against the two guys that are ahead of me in the championship standings, and we did that tonight, so that was good. So good for the championship. Good to see Damien get a win after last round where he probably deserved one. So good for that. We try to put a bit of pressure on him, but every sort of I'd make about a half a second or something in the traffic, and then I'd lose it just with the ebbs and flows of traffic. So probably with about 5 or 6 to go, I just sort of said, all right, let's conserve from our teammate behind us, and he was doing a really good job and bowled a wide there on the last lap. I'm sure he'd be cursing himself about, but yeah, we had good pace, good race with Mitch at the start. We let him go, and then we got back by. Pretty good move there. So all in all, couldn't fault it.
What has been interesting for me in the commentary box is seeing how the pace between you three has changed over the course of the season. So I think for you, Scott, you were very, very much on the ball in the early part of the season, and then Hobbo started to bring that pace back in, make it a bit more of a battle between the pair of you. And now with Rasmussen, especially these last 2 weeks, quite on it and very competitive at the front. Do you have a bit of an intra-team battle as well to sort of outdo each other throughout the season?
For sure, at the moment, while the championship's on the line, we want to beat each other. Hobbo's not going to give it to me on a silver platter, and I'm not going to give it to him on the silver platter unless the championship dictates that. At the moment, we're fighting, so a nice, clean, fair fight is what we're after. And also try and help him out. I tried to help him out a little bit. Tried to do a bit of a Van Gisbergen at turn 1 there, and just sort of hold Mitch's front bumper out a bit wider so Hobbo could get a run there, and it nearly worked. but when it comes to sort of us for position, we're definitely gonna fight for it. So, yeah, it's good to see Damo come with the pace. He sorted out his ergonomics of his cockpit and stuff like that. Got some new gear and really sorted out. Got his his ergonomics in the sim a lot better, and I think that's probably something that hampered him. And I think it's found him that sort of few tenths that he needed to bring the pace right up. But we already knew he was quick, and now he's really putting that out and being consistent as well, which is good.
Another carrot for you guys to chase. So congratulations on second place this evening, Scott Nolan.
Thanks, guys.
And third place this evening was Brendan Hobson. Hobo, we used to interviewing you in these things, but not so much for third. Take us through your race.
I'm happy with the third. It was an all right race. I think I could have probably run with the guys at the front, but we lost so much time at the start of the race having to fight. So I could never make it back, and I nerfed it just after the pit stop and ran wide, trying to go a little too hard when the tyres weren't quite ready, and lost a couple of seconds to Scotty, which sort of made it a bit of a prospect to try and get back to him again. So that pace was good at the end. I don't know how hard they were pushing, but I was sort of reeling them in, but it was just too little too late this time around.
And a third place, regardless of being too little too late for the battle for the win, is a big step for you in terms of the championship, with Will Devonish having a shocker of a round.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he ended up. I didn't see him at all in the relative all race, so it must have been worse than 8th. But that's the big picture, I guess. I've done it several times before. You start having to chase points, but the problem is I can't be complacent like that, because Scotty, I'm not sure what the difference is, but he's not far behind. So it's all good for me to just let those two cruise on out in front. But if I don't race him for it, then I'll end up getting beaten by him by the end. So
yeah,
I can't be complacent. I was racing hard to try and get him tonight, and I was looking for a good fight, but it just never quite eventuated. But as he sort of said, we're not about to just move over and let each other go. It'll be elbows out when the time comes. We definitely had the chance to fight early in the race, but it wasn't really the time. So just tried to keep it line astern and hope that we could maybe fight at the end, but it just wasn't quite to be.
Yeah, well, a podium is still a very nice result for you guys, and a podium for all three in the team. So congratulations, Brendan Hobson, you're third place tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And Kiwi, I've just been given the updated point standings. This is including the drop round as well. So obviously Will Devonish gets his drop round tonight. He had a shocker, so that's a big 0 for him. He still maintains the championship lead by a solitary point over Brendan Hobson. So Devonish 189, Hobson 188, and Scott Nolan in third with 181. So even with an absolute shocker for both of the top two now, their absolute consistency throughout this season sees them 1 and 2 with Nolan just behind, separated by a point for the top of the championship. Yeah, what an absolute cracker of a championship this is turning out to be.
Did we expect anything less? Really?
No, time and time again, we've been shown that the racing and now the championships in this series in TCAC really come to the fore. So awesome stuff from everyone involved. And again, 25 cars tonight. That is a huge grid, and it just shows the strength of this series and the strength of the community and the group that this series maintains.
Absolutely right. And we'll see it again. Well, you'll see it again in 2 weeks' time. I don't think I'll be commentating. I don't think it's smart for me to commentate on my anniversary evening. So I'm sure Michael will enjoy that one, and we'll find someone equally qualified to join him.
Oh, equally qualified. That'll be a stretch. Don't think anyone can get that far down.
But as always, thank you to Brock Harvey for the mod and all the work he's put into it. Thank you to Nether for the graphics package, as always. And thank you to Michael for joining me this evening. Make sure, as you talked about, Le Mans next week, we're going to have a bunch of stuff from Endurance Chat. Tune into our YouTube channel, listen to our podcast on Spotify or whatever podcast thing you have. It's going to be a good old time, and watch the race. It's going to be a great race as well.
Yes, watch the race.
Yes, importantly, watch the race. But any last words you want on this evening, Mr. Zalavari?
No, nothing. I think it was all very nice. I will be back for Sandown, so we should see the Sierras maybe come back to the fore there. Very much a power track, a track that I've been to, so I can talk a little bit about that. A track that you've been to. Unfortunately, you won't be talking about it because you'll be not here, will you?
Yes, indeed. I will be. Well, I won't be going out for dinner, but I'll be doing something.
Oh, cute. So yeah, on that note, I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Indeed we do. On behalf of Michael Zalavari, I'm Chris Riddell. Good evening.